Let's call this meeting to order on
5:36.
April 15th, Thursday at what time?
5:36.
5:36 with a roll call
Kim Leonard,
here.
Colleen Klimzak. Here. Gina Cannon, here. Catherine Fontaine, absent. Claudia Parker. Here. Dan Malloy.
Dan Malloy,
Here.
Kevin O'Connor.
Here.
both Kevin O'Connor and Dan Malloy will be joining us by telephone today. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, would somebody like to please make a motion to approve the agenda as outlined?
I'll make that motion.
And a second,
I'll second.
and a roll call?
Colleen Klimzak.
Yes.
Claudia Parker.
Yes.
Daniel Malloy.
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor.
Yes.
Kim Leonard.
Yes.
Gina Cannon, yes. And Catherine Fontaine, absent.
Hi, Mr. Meister, are we sure we're on? Because they said they can't hear or see us streaming.
I have the YouTube up and I'm seeing us.
Okay. Yes.
Here we go.
We're on.
Yes. Is that your sister?
Just delete.
Nope.
Multiple people or just one person?
One person, it says that their screen just says this.
I'm to refresh.
Yep.
Okay,
F5.
okay.
I mean, politely. have
It's a
to
staff
refresh.
member telling us, that's why.
Politely, of course.
Of course. And let me know. Let's see what she says. It's working. Thank you. All right, so we're on. Just want to make sure all of our 5 viewers can watch it tonight from home. So at this time, we have no public comments, correct? Correct. Okay, and we are going to move into the.
17.
It's yours. We are going to move to staff reports with Dr. Longo.
So Mr. Beetler is not here tonight. We had anticipated him being here, so we will move that to committee, to Building and Grounds Committee.
So we're not, what are we gonna do with that?
We're just gonna table it and send it back to Building and Grounds Committee.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Did you hear that, Dan and Kevin?
And send it where?
The Building and Grounds Committee.
So unfortunately, National Investigations Incorporated was unable to be here today for their presentation. So we're gonna move it to another meeting date, not tonight.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to move, that was for A. B is for architecture firm.
And Jim Hennessy,
All right,
come up and talk about the RFQ, please.
So the district has sent out a request for qualifications for architectural services. That was just sent out on the 16th. And we actually have 6 firms already have reached out to me that have shown interest. So
all right.
the last date for them to ask any questions is the 23rd. Their submittals are due on May 14th. May 20th, we'll come up with a short list of candidates that we think are qualified. We'll interview them on the 26th, and by the June board meeting, we'll be able to hopefully approve a new firm.
All right, so I'm just gonna recap it for the people who are on the phone. You said by April 23rd, anyone that would like to bid on becoming our architect on that represents us has to do it by April 23rd, and we're hoping at the May meeting to,
Their submittals are due May 14th.
okay,
The 23rd is their last day to ask any questions or to show interest.
okay,
And I've had 6 firms already reach out and ask me some questions, which is great. And then the interviews will take place in late May, and hopefully in June, we can approve a new architectural firm and then go forward. We do have our 10-year life safety survey that'll be due next year, so we're hoping to obviously have someone in place who can perform that for us.
okay. All right, does anyone have any questions for Timothy?
Could just go over the projects that you anticipate going forward that we would need an architecture.
Sure.
for.
All right,
Sure.
Jim, I'm gonna ask you to move really close forward, because
It's on.
exactly, so that's the microphone, and then this is the people that are listening to you. I'm sorry, I'm just giving you a heads up where you're at.
No pressure.
So hopefully you could hear him a little better if he moved up a little, Kevin and Dan.
So some of the major projects that the schools need, southeast, northeast, and central need pretty much complete overhauls of their HVAC systems. They're aging and parts are becoming hard to come by to fix, so that would be a major upgrade.
Could you give us the schools again? Say that again.
Southeast,
Uh-huh.
northeast, and central.
All right,
The 2 west schools have had theirs upgraded already.
all right.
Many of the schools are showing,
When we redid Central, nothing was updated at that point.
no.
We put
They
in
made
central
some,
air, but that
they
was
made
it.
some improvements just in the area where the renovations were
Okay,
and put central air in the gym.
okay.
But most of the
Other.
components in the rest of the school are still
Okay.
pretty old and,
Okay.
yeah. Flooring throughout the entire district is showing its age.
Okay,
Possible elevator upgrade at Central. That elevator, we have had it repaired, it's working fine, but it's also showing its age. Bathrooms need to be remodeled, the student bathrooms, pretty much throughout the district. Central would probably be,
terrible is the most.
okay, so you know. Yeah. Central is the main focus for that. They're well overdue for a
Oh my
remodel.
God, some of them they look exactly like when I went there and
Oh, me too.
yeah, you understand,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And then obviously possibly looking into a new facility, an early childhood or kindergarten center would be great. So hopefully get rid of the mobiles one day.
Mhm.
So there's quite a few projects, major projects that need to get done, and I know budget wise, it's hard, but can't let things go for too long.
No. All right. And that isn't even touching installing HVAC in any of the buildings. Air conditioning, I should say.
Well, I would like to include that if we do the upgrades at the,
Gotcha.
I'd like to get rid of the window air conditioners
Sure, sure.
like we were able to at Northwest and Southwest.
Do they have central air now?
They have the univents that have both heat and air.
Oh, I did not realize
Yeah.
that. They don't have any units in those windows? I did not realize that. Okay,
There's some at Northwest, just because they haven't been taken out yet.
gotcha.
They're
They're
not,
not functioning.
they
They're
don't-
not
they-
utilized.
They're not utilized, right?
Okay,
Those are gonna be removed this summer.
And
Gotcha.
Southeast already has the venting and all of that, right, for a system. In the last project, they were prepared.
Southeast probably is the most accessible to start with for HVAC, just because they have a large attic space. If
so I was under the impression like their last renovation, which was many, many years ago, they put in the ductwork, but they just never put it up on with a HVAC.
Right,
So.
So they need to finish that. There's more that needs to be added to it. and
Okay.
then The univents at Southeast need to be replaced.
Okay, gotcha.
Like I said, parts are starting to become.
Well,
hard to
sure, if
get.
you've left
Yeah.
it sit there for 25 years and never went forward with moving it, yeah, I'm sure. All right,
Do we have carpet in any rooms yet?
There's still carpet in some of the classrooms that I would like to get out too
With this or this summer?
this summer, there's
Too much
it's not
other stuff?
really budgeted for this summer.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
But eventually I'd like to get all the carpet out of the classrooms. That's the plan.
Simple as that.
okay.
So there's maintenance projects and then there's bigger,
So there's like
there's the
10-year
things
life
we do
safety.
every summer, right? Like
Right.
we've been pulling up the carpeting in different classrooms
Right.
every summer. And then there's
Well,
more.
did you just say not this
ambitious
summer though?
projects.
This summer,
Not
we
this
there's
summer.
no flooring projects in the books. This summer it'll just be some roofing, small roofing projects,
Okay,
some seal coating and pretty much regular summer projects. We are putting in a new HVAC system in the server room at Central to keep the server cool. We've had a lot of problems with the one that is in there.
okay,
And if the server goes down, then
everything's.
that's,
on.
everything goes down.
Where's the server?
It's in the lower level at Central.
Okay.
So we actually are getting pricing on that right now. I'm hoping to get that as soon as possible because
Okay.
that's critical.
Yes, that is a critical. All right, does anyone else have any questions? Who is it?
Mr. Bigler, right?
Oh, okay. All right, so, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm just writing this down so I don't forget. Hi, so Mr. Beidler, I believe has joined us.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, ma'am.
Are you ready for us?
Huh?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Well, come on up.
Throwing it
So
in there.
Kevin and Dan, Mr. Beidler, I'm sorry, when you said to put it after, I wasn't paying attention.
Yes, right.
So Mr. Beidler has joined us from National Investigations Incorporated to give us a presentation this evening. And he has arrived and thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Now, did you all receive the packets?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna quickly go through that. At first, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a bio on National Investigations. National Investigations have been dealing in school investigations for well over 23 years. We are currently the only private investigations firm in the entire state of Illinois. With that many years, actually, the longest one I know of is 5 at this point in time. We work all the way from the Wisconsin border throughout the suburbs surrounding Chicago, out to Peoria, Illinois, to the Indiana border. We deal in residency, we deal in truancy now. We deal in wellness checks of the children and families, because that's become a very high demand during our COVID pandemic. On top of that, we have been doing e-learning checks. So if kids are logging out of there or blanking out their screens, the schools would contact us immediately. We would dispatch. We don't call them investigators, we call them counselors. They don't go there with badges on or anything like that. They go in a suit and tie. They look like an administrator and they work with the parents and the student to figure out what's going on. What kind of plan can we come up with to implement to make sure that the child is logging in each day and is not blanking out the screen, driving the teacher crazy. And I actually sat behind my own children and observed what was going on in that classroom because the superintendent of my district authorized me to watch a whole day's worth of class, which was very interesting. I don't know how the teachers are doing it. I'll be completely honest. It's a hard task. We also do workers' compensation for school districts. The reason why they come to us for workers' compensation is because our price is so much lower than what your insurance company is going to charge you. So it's a cost-saving measure. And the fact that we've been doing workers' compensation investigations for over 30 years within our corporation. We are highly the top of the line in the industry for workers' compensation and surveillance investigations. And we have all the cool little gadgets and toys. Internal investigations was started 5 years ago. Districts were contacting us saying, you know, we have an internal issue. There's allegations upon this teacher. There's allegations upon, you know, this parent. There's allegations upon this disciplinary situation that took place. And we would come in and conduct an internal investigation. And the attorneys and the district really like that because we're completely blind. We're not within the school. We're not dealing with the children on a day-to-day basis. We're not dealing with the child or the family on a day-to-day or weekly basis. So when we're coming in as a completely clean slate. We don't want to know anything. We want to look over the file. We want to look over the evidence provided and then direct the school district on how we think the district should proceed in the matter. One of the other reasons why we really got involved in that is I'm old school. I'd love to see the schools go back to the way we used to do things where we don't criminalize the children by the time they're in middle school. And I saw a lot of that going on in the schools to where once they hit middle school, it's always the RO officer running into the room with the parent and the administration and, you know, because he, you know, has some behavioral issues, he acted out, made a mistake. Now he's got a record instead of the two parents working out together, signing civil agreements, stating that they're not going to take any criminal or civil action upon the district, the other parent, and so forth. So we started creating all the documents with the law firms pertaining to the internal investigations with the disciplinary issues. So then we can kind of decriminalize our middle schools and our high schools. So our firm also handles safety consulting and counseling. What that boils down to is in today's time, the safety of the school is a major matter for all districts. So what we wanted to do is present to the districts from, again, an outside person's perspective, new technology that's out there like geotagging, 100 cameras within one tube instead of putting 7 cameras down your building. So it kind of looks like a prison instead of a school, to where we can just put one camera up on a light pole and no one really even knows it's there, but it's able to track 100 people at the same time. So there's just astronomical amount of technology out there. And then we got into what we call the camera recycling program too, to where once we put one of those up, we took down all the old cameras and we would sell them and then just dump the money back into the school district for them to use for other means or to pay off some of the cost on the new equipment. And then I have already touched base on the e-learning assistance. So tapping into the residency investigations, we at National believe that we don't want to be within your school district boundaries when we're doing it. We have a proprietary database system. And there's only 2 individuals within the corporation at this time that has access to that database system. It's in a secured locked room. We have a federal inspection 3 times a year to make sure that what we are running is proper. It's not being used for anything but the school districts. It's not being used for workers' comp investigations to locate people and things like that, because this system is dedicated to the schools. Because we're using it as a database to generate information for a state or federal agency with the attachment of a private detective's license in the state of Illinois. So it takes you to a third tier is what they call it. So it's giving us access to the credit bureaus and all the different places where you can pull information. One of the nice things is it's now, after 2 years ago, it is pulling information from all the social media websites. So if you open up a Facebook account and your TCP/IP address is connected to that, it's going to tell us that that's the address you just created a new account, or, with Roblox and all that, them, paying their money on those systems, they're using that TCP/IP address too. So it points us directly to their predominant address that they have their bills, their logins, their credit reports being ran at, all of that. Now, are we grabbing that information and yanking it out and putting it? No, absolutely not. Under the CPP Act, the Child Privacy Protection Act, we take that very serious. And therefore, once we run it, we flag the families that we believe are outside the district boundaries. We will create a basic Excel spreadsheet. It does not go up on the cloud. It stays within our internal, we have an intranet and internet, so it stays on the intranet system in our office. When we meet with the district about it, we would bring a USB drive for them to review the list and make their decision on, okay, go ahead and investigate those families that you have flagged. We will not do it electronically because again, that is putting us and the district at risk. We do use a system that when we do want to transmit information between us and the district, it is encrypted on our side, decrypted on your side. There's many sites that do it, but we stay with the one that our IT people are comfortable with and our law firm is comfortable with.
How many student investigations for residency do you do a year?
Last year we did over 20,000. The year before that, last year was like a middle year because of COVID.
Sure.
So
I'm
we
sorry,
did
yes.
20,000 last year.
Now, when you say 20,000, you don't mean 20,000 in-person on-site investigations?
Yes,
Oh, you were actually
Mhm.
at people's houses?
correct.
Wow. And is that across, it looks, I saw your letters of recommendation about how many school districts you currently work with right now.
Currently, right now, we work with 38 districts. the
Are they
state
all
of
in Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your average cost, would you say, for a residency violator? So like, obviously, if somebody lives in Evergreen, you're gonna check on them maybe however many times, and you're gonna see that they're coming out every time, and typically then that's the end of the investigation or whatever.
Right.
But if it's a residency where it's more challenging and you believe that they are coming from an outside the boundaries, what's your average cost per student or per family on that?
We break it down into 3 tiers for you. The
Okay.
average cost on let's say we flag them, they're a clear family, it's 30 minutes.
Okay,
If it's a flagged family, we find them outside the district boundaries. That's a maximum of an hour and a half, normally an hour.
of surveillance that you do on them?
No, that's just normally when we do the visit and we
Uh-huh.
speak with the parents, explain the law.
Oh, so you do go to speak to the parents?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
At the out of district residence, not within the district boundaries.
okay,
So we go to the out of district residence, we knock at the door, we speak to the parent, we inform them of the law that they're violating, that they need to, take action. We have designed a letter, which is in your packet, with several law firms, 4 law firms in total, that we put, that gets placed on your letterhead. We provide that to the parent at the time of the visit. On there, it states the address that we found them at. What the district wants done. Do they want them to withdraw immediately? Or like if we're doing it right now, a lot of districts are saying, let them finish the year, but at least they have this letter knowing that they can't come back next year.
So,
And then let me just answer your big one,
Uh-huh.
the really difficult families. The ones that want to fight us, what we have done is we have met with the regional school board of education who handles residency. And they've given what we call the pinwheel theory that they have on removing a student from a district with a regional office appeal. And then we took what the 4 major law firms in Illinois, the Chicagoland area in Illinois, recommended us to do. We combined the 2. And we have been using that process, and it's averaging out to be approximately 13 hours of investigation.
all right.
But that is an extremely difficult situation. Now,
So do you approach them? I'm just curious, because there's a lot of loopholes in residency, like, well, you just caught me on a day where my kids spent the night at grandma's because I was working last night. So obvious, you know, I mean, something like that. So I mean, do you guys approach them the first time that you see the violation, or is it multiple times, or is that
no, it's
part
gonna
of-
be the first time.
Okay,
And what it is that before the investigator gets up to the door, that investigator already knows that mail's being delivered to that residence, the car is
Gotcha.
registered to that address.
okay,
They might have a printout of 150 times, because we also have access to what they call a vehicle tracker.
okay,
And that is on 90% of the light poles in the state of Illinois. If you look up, even without a stoplight cam, they still have a camera up there. The reason why they have that is for law enforcement purposes. And that is to take a photo of every plate going through that intersection.
mhm,
The tow trucks have these square boxes on them, and as they're driving down your street, they are taking photos of all the license plates out in front of your property and at rental properties.
sure,
All that information goes into one database, which we have access to.
mhm,
And we can just type in their license plate, and it'll tell us, we always do between 11 PM and 4 AM in the morning. How many times is it at the odd district residence? It's been there 150 times in the last 3 months. Okay, well, give the investigator that information, so when they talk to the parent, they can say, you can't say you're just here visiting, because for 150 times between 11 PM and 4 AM in the morning, your car's been parked in this driveway.
gotcha.
That is high tech.
Yeah, so do they
I feel
think
so
that-
violated.
We're protected.
Do they
That's
think-
not the worst of it. Law enforcement's got more, trust me.
Do they think then you've been sitting out there that long or that many times watching them?
No, we actually show them the report
Oh, okay.
where it's got a photo of their plate.
Because I
In the
would be,
driveway
if that
or
were
on
me
the
and
side
someone
of
said
the-
that to me, I'd be like, well, how do you know? If you've been like, sitting,
Stalking.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Stalking me? No.
Well, kinda, I
Even though the
guess.
stalking law doesn't apply to private detectives, the thing is that we want to make sure that they understand that this is being generated by a system that is out there for everyone to use, to be honest. You as a private citizen, it's kind of scary how much even you as a private citizen can pull up on an individual. You can pull up someone's credit score, you can pull just
You gotta
yourself.
know where to go.
Yeah, you can just type in,
Don't tell us, don't tell
locate,
us.
whatever. I won't go into all of it,
Board
but
members, credit
yeah,
score.
you can go on the internet and literally find out where someone is residing, find out all their email addresses, find out all their social media websites. You can find out, it costs $150, $200, $300. But if you're stalking someone, you'll spend that money.
Right.
And that really is the scary part, because we do a lot of work with battered women who are trying to get away from husbands or boyfriends, but they always find them. So the only way we can protect those individuals is to actually create a whole new life for them, to be honest with you. We apply for a new social security number. We apply for, all these different things to get them off the scent of the person that's being battered. But the problem is that even with all that effort we do, there is that 10% chance that they will hire a private detective who is not, let's say, morally right. And as long as you give them the money, they'll run the information and find that person. Now with us, like our firm, if we ever take on a personal case, which is very unusual, we always tell them we have to have a lawyer contact us and then we will take it on. And that's to stop something like that from happening. Is that we run a background check on the person requesting for us to locate that person who, quote unquote, is missing. So we find out if they got OOPs or any type of domestic issues between the two people before we go ahead and do the locate and find that person for them.
So when you approach so you're doing investigations, obviously on our behalf and you're a private agency. Oh, I think somebody might have, hang on one second. Oh, open the door. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Jim. Dan or Kevin?
It's Dan.
Dan.
Okay.
So we're gonna disconnect Dan. We hung up on Dan. Now it's just you, Kevin. So obviously, I'm assuming you have a FOID card and you at times carry a gun. Would you be carrying a gun when you would be approaching our parents that you believe are?
Now that is a huge thing that we have fought with over the past 3 years because of the environment that we are now living in.
Yes.
And I made a corporate decision that is not, I'll be honest, I lost a lot of employees over it.
Okay.
And that is that at this point in time, there's only 3 people that are allowed to carry a firearm. That is a live, actual firearm within my entire company. And I have over 75 investigators in Illinois running around the city of Chicago and in some really bad areas without.
Protection, so to speak.
No, they have protection, but they do not have a live firearm. They
Okay.
have what we call a non-lethal option. It's called a buy run. And what it is that they keep it concealed. No one knows that they have it on them. And what it is it's pretty much a paintball gun with an OC object.
With a what?
OC gas object.
Okay.
Now, I tell them that if you pull that is like pulling a firearm. But no matter what is a non-lethal weapon. I
Okay.
do not want 70 people out there with live firearms. Out of the 70 so investigators that I have, there's only 10 that I'm allowing with even the buy runs. And they're working the east, west side of Chicago, the far north side where we're having issues right now with crime and a lot of carjackings in that area. And then a couple of towns up north to where we've actually had an investigator have to deal with the death of a young child right in front of her. So she is partnered up with an armed off-duty police officer at all times.
Sure. I just asked because obviously this is school-related business
Mhm.
and we're dealing with children. So when
Yep.
you're approaching families, you have the opportunity that a mom is going to answer her door
Mhm.
with 6 kids running around.
Yep.
And we certainly would never want to scare, I should
And
say,
that's why,
or present a danger to our families, whether they're legally allowed to come here or not. We still don't want to put ourselves in a position where we
No.
would.
the only areas we have them carrying anything even resembling a firearm would be the Byron. And that is only if they drive up to the house and it doesn't look right.
Okay.
Then they will strap it on, cover it up. They got to be wearing a suit jacket or their like this type of jacket. They even cover up their badges and everything, so no one knows that they're even a private detective or private investigator till they go up to the door and show their identification and badge to the parent and say, I'm a private investigator working in conjunction for whatever school district we're working for at that time. And that was to bring down the level of anxiety, especially for a lot of our school districts where we have a predominant Hispanic community. And we were literally, 4 years ago, we were literally having our off-duty officers walking up to the door and people climbing out the side window. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
this is getting ridiculous. So we brought down the amount of badge visibility. They show their identification and stuff at the door to the parent. Therefore, it brings down that anxiety that the parents would have. Because the other thing you would hear on the other side of the door is, Mom, it's the police. And we don't want them dealing with that either.
Sure, all right. I don't know, does anyone else have questions?
Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know, could you hear us, Kevin?
Not Kevin.
I'm sorry, Dan. I'm looking at you and thinking of Kevin too. Dan, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, Tina.
That has happened.
Why are you trying to
Kevin,
insult me?
Kevin, do you have any
Anything to you
questions?
today?
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, I do have a couple more then, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So I'm looking at it, it looks like that if this is something that we are interested in moving forward with, is it like, is the contract like a year of a contract? Is it a?
The whole contract is created and built for the benefit of the district. So
we would
pretty
tailor
much
what
that
our needs-
contract is, I'll break down the contract for you right now. Is the first part of it is just listing out the cost.
Sure.
For our services. The second part would be that we're gonna cover the district with $5 million of general liability per occurrence, per incident. So a lot of people say, well, we're gonna cover you with $5 million of general liability, and that's just for the whole situation. No, it's, if he makes a verbal mistake and then a physical mistake, it's 5 million on the verbal mistake and a 5 million on the physical mistake.
Gotcha.
So it's actually 10 million at that point in time, because we have that umbrella sitting there covering us, the district's Board of Education and staff. On top of that, the next part is that we say that's a 1-year contract with a 30-day out. But as soon as a district sends us a response saying, we no longer want to use the Service of National Investigations because we've decided to go a different route or anything like that, then we cease all investigations immediately. Because we don't want a district to feel that they have to use our services.
Okay.
So the attorneys have, the school district attorneys have gone through that contract, beat it up, pulled things out, put things in and all that. And as they did that over the years, we just kept leaving it in.
Okay.
And adding to it, because we just feel that the contract needs to be for the benefit of the district, not for our benefit. Our
I thought I read
benefit
that it
is where
automatically
we're.
renews. Does it? It
No,
it doesn't.
It
automatically
cancels
renew.
every year.
Oh, okay. I must have read that.
Oh, yeah, because it'll agreed on a year and then it says the date. Well, obviously, I'm sure each contract probably looks a little different once the attorneys get their hands on it.
Oh, of course.
All right. All right, is there anything else? I'm sorry. No, all right. Thank you so much for
No
joining
problem.
us tonight.
Do you need any additional packets?
Can I have one?
Oh, you know what, would you like to do?
What, three?
Yeah.
You have three? That would be
There's
great.
Kevin there.
I'll overdue you here and give you four.
Excellent. Thank you so
Overachieving.
much.
Excellent.
I can give Kevin his. Kevin, I have yours and then. give
You
me-
want 4 then?
No, we only need three. We're fine.
The new board
We
member.
got Kevin's here and then three.
Oh,
plus
we
an
do have
extra one.
Kevin's over there?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I misunderstood you.
Nope, that's all right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. So would we, are we looking to change up how we do residency next year as far as like, we would still have an intake person on our end because obviously they would be somebody here to be doing all the flagging or the,
We're looking for a way to contain some of the costs related to that.
okay,
And so Leela and Ms. Lopez met with this gentleman and talked to him. Work for each of the
do you know how much we spend right now per
I don't
invest?
have it,
Okay,
I don't have it right here, but it depends on the case.
yeah, oh, it
Sure,
definitely
of
does,
course.
yes,
So-
yes.
I asked the same question. I wrote it down. You asked it, I wrote it down. So I was like,
So
oh,
this
perfect,
is gonna
thank you.
streamline what we're currently doing and actually save us money, because this seems like it's gonna be more expensive.
Yeah, so what, go ahead.
Since I get nailed with this question, I used to get nailed with it pretty often, but with a lot of new administration coming into the school districts, I have been getting nailed with it a lot. National Investigations never in the history of the company been hired by a school district and taken a loss. They've always actually taken a gain. So I'm gonna give you an example. Out of every time we have taken on a district and done the full program from registration to the end of the school year with all new enrollees coming in, without administration having to say, okay, I need all these documents, that's gone. So you get rid of the whole, we need all these documents, we need your ID, this. By law, really, the birth certificate is really all you're gonna need, and them to present proof of identification, not make a copy of it. You really don't need to do that, but you can. It's up to the district. But the only reason why you're asking for the ID is to prove that that's the parent of the child you're taking in. Therefore, you're not getting into a child abduction issue, bumping that head. So national, really, what we always want to do with a first year district for our full program is to go from start to finish. Okay. And a district your size will see a cost savings of approximately $250,000 to $300,000 in the first year. The reason why is because we will disenroll approximately 5% of your student population. Within that 5% student population, and I hate to, I'm just gonna be completely honest, I have an autistic child. Let's just take my child. My child's coming to this district. If I'm from out of district and my child's autistic, just by removing my child from the district, that saves the district. This is mind-boggling to a lot of districts. $60,000 right off the bat.
Is
And
that
that's
because
one
over the
child.
course of several years, are you considering?
No, that's 1 year.
Educated, okay,
Because my child requires a additional student aid to be within the room with them at all times. On top of that, if my child's actually mild. So if he's high autism, then a lot of times it takes 2 additional aids. So you figure out their salaries, their benefits, and you're already coming up with approximately between $40,000 to $60,000 right there in savings.
So you're saying
That's
on
one
a-
child.
I'm just doing my math now, obviously 1,900 times 5% is 95 students, that's a lot of kids in 1 year to
Mhm.
enroll.
But this year, I will guarantee you that you are going to see an influx of approximately at least 5% of new students slamming into your doors during registration time, trying to flee nearby districts. Because
Yeah,
those
we
parents
know
know,
that. We already know that.
parents know that those districts are not gonna open up to full capacity.
Right, we're providing 5-day in-person learning.
Right.
If that's your choices, if that's the family's choice.
So they're
So
gonna
certainly it's a
come in and-
challenge when you look 3/4, almost 80% of our boundaries are Chicago.
Yes.
You know, that is, that's a fact. Or
Mhm.
certainly close to 80%, I believe, is our boundaries. So the challenge is that we need to continually monitor our residency and make sure that we are ensuring our taxpayers' dollars are going just for the kids of Evergreen Park, so.
And then if you have more than one, and this boggles the mind of a lot of school districts too, that we talk to, is I tell them, at your district size, if you have more than one McKinney-Vento student attending your district and you don't have a homeless shelter within the boundaries of your district, then you have more McKinney-Vento students than are legally really McKinney-Vento students. So then you gotta look at all those benefits that are provided to those families and the cost savings of not having to provide those anymore. When they do, actually, some of them this year, oh my God, it was kind of crazy. We did 50 cases for one school district. And out of those 50 cases, 48 of the families all lived within the district boundaries. But were affidaviters, so the district decided to make them McKinney-Ventos, just because they were affidaviters.
What do you mean because they were affidavitors?
Affidavitors are live-wits.
Right, right.
So the McKinney-Vento liaison person said, if you're a live-wit, you're McKinney-Vento. So they dumped them all in the McKinney-Vento pool.
Okay,
So that's a number that I always tell board members and superintendents to look at. Look at your McKinney-Vento number. If it's more than one, or if it's more than two, then you've got an issue going on that we're gonna also wanna look into for you, because that is a massive cost savings.
So
That's
all
even higher
those,
than special education.
all those little frills that you were talking about at the beginning, the cameras and all that stuff, are those à la carte? We're gonna do residency, but you can add this in, or is that all inclusive?
No, it's whatever you wanna use this for, you can use this for. Whatever you don't wanna use this for, you don't have to use it for.
So it's like Burger King, you can have it your way. You tell us what
That's
you
right.
want, you throw it in the pot.
That's right.
Onions, tomatoes.
The
nothing.
only massive benefit with national taking on the full program in the first year is that every year thereafter, we no longer have to look at everybody. All we have to look at is affidavitors, renters, and McKinney. That is it. Every year thereafter. People are owning property. It is so easy to check in on them. It's not even funny. You would send us over the list of people living within the district as owners, and we have a different system we use for that. And we just run their names through the system, and it tells us that they are still owning that property, and we're done, and we charge you $25 for running that whole list. And that completes all investigations for that list. So it's a massive savings after the first year. So the first year's the big hit. Every year thereafter, literally the next 20 years, after the first year, you're gonna be spending 25% of what you spent the first year.
What's the average cost of the first year?
The average cost, it all depends on the difficult cases. If we have a lot of McKinneys, that jacks up the cost. If we have a lot of parents that are gonna try to fight us, that's gonna jack up the cost. With my experience with Evergreen Park, in previous years and knowing the community, and I know where we're gonna end up going with most of these parents, where they're living. I'm gonna tell you now that out of the 5% we're gonna transfer out, I would say it's gonna be less than 1% are gonna fight us. I'd say it's gonna be around 0.5%.
so it's like $4,000. If it's just straightforward, you're gonna fact check every file, right? So, and we don't have 1,900, I'm sorry, we don't have 1,900
families.
We have approximately 1,900 students.
So it's gonna be approximately 1,100 families. We're gonna be running through that system.
So that's about $27,000.
It's 2,200 at $2 per family.
Okay. I was doing different math. Thank you.
It'd be 22 to run everybody. And then to investigate, I'm gonna estimate for your first year, I'm gonna take the worst case scenario I could possibly think of. And I'm gonna think that McKinney-Vento is all messed up. And I'm gonna say the most you're gonna spend is $40,000. But that's the worst case scenario. And if it is the worst case scenario, I guarantee you that our program saves this district in excess of $600,000 if we spend that for $45,000.
Well, if you think
So-
about $40,000, that's like 4 students at $10,000 each. So even if you were to only identify 4 families, it's already paid it off and it's already checked every single student.
Correct.
So do you come in and like streamline our registration?
Yes. I
policy?
sit down with your administration and I say, okay, we can get rid of this.
Okay.
We're gonna keep
And then is someone
this.
here from your company?
Me, I personally do this.
No,
Because-
during registration days.
Well, that's the thing. That's one of the things the district can literally remove is registration days.
Oh,
Because it's all being done digitally.
okay,
Oh, the only ones that we're gonna have to speak with are new enrollees.
okay.
But again, a lot of our districts, and I can put your superintendent in contact with that superintendent nearby that's been doing this program for a full year, and they just love it. Because when they get a new enrollee, that new enrollee walks in the door, fills out one piece of paper. And then the registrar just says, okay, we'll get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. During that 24 or 48 hours, they're under investigation. The parent doesn't even know it. So we get back to them in 24 to 48 hours, sometimes in 1 hour. And the parent's coming right back up to the school and registering their child. But the ones to where we have to flag because they're living, let's say, in Indiana. And you'll be surprised that we do find some Indiana people coming here. But we flag them from Indiana. We have to go out to Indiana, speak with the parent, tell them they need to transfer out. And the other thing that district, of 90, I'd say about 90% of our districts have gone with this option too, is that within the letter, it says that if you're handed this letter and you have any questions or concerns, please call this number. And it goes directly to my regional manager, not to the school. So because my regional manager has access to the investigator's body cams, that's the other thing that they're required to wear. If they're in a suit, they have a pin body cam is what we call it. So the parent doesn't even know they got it on. Because again, we don't want intimidation. We don't want them saying, oh, you're videotaping me. But it's right in the button of their shirt, or it could be a clasp that's on their tie. No, I'm not wearing one.
We're videoing you.
I know. But all my investigators are required to wear body cams now because, again, situations have changed. So they wear the body cam, and that regional manager has direct access to that particular drive to pull it up. So she could say, oh, I'm looking at the video of the investigator speaking to you at, oh yeah, that's 789 South Woodward Ave, Chicago, Illinois. That was at 8 o'clock at night. Oh, wait, there's the kid. Your child just ran up to the door and said, hey, mommy, who's at her house? Why would the child say it was his house?
Right.
And she's having this conversation live with the parent. And that way the parent can't say, well, no, they came to the Evergreen Park address and spoke to me and they're trying to kick me out. No, you can't play that game anymore. We have the body cam. We have the investigator's notes. It has latitude and longitude on the body cam. There's just no way to play that game anymore.
So would you say, because we have had instances in the past where it has not been very clear.
Oh, that letter's
And
clear.
then the investigator where they've done their due diligence. So that's been a source of contention in some of our decisions on how to side. So would you say that you are pretty much 100% definitive in most of the cases that you're presenting to the board for residency? You are certain that you know the outcome of that particular resident before you bring it to us?
Yes, and how I can prove that is by my success rate. In the 20 years I've been doing this, I still have a 98% win rate in a hearing. And that's including McKinley-Vento. So I've gone to abundance and I have not lost one yet, which is unheard of. Normally, everyone loses their abundance. But I have gone to court and I have won in court on abundance. I've gone to abundance hearings and won on the abundance hearings, which has been always unheard of. I actually made a bet with the superintendent that he said we were gonna lose. Man, she whooped us up last year. You know, the attorney thinks we're gonna lose. We went in there and we won. And it was all about having the right evidence, presenting it the right way, and not being so aggressive, not being an attorney. Just act like a human being and say, okay, we understand what you're trying to do, but you're going about it the wrong way. So this is what you need to do. And that's how you handle abundance. You got to kind of understand where the parent's coming from, but tell them that this is the wrong way of going about it. This is the way you needed to go about it. So let's go about it that way. And the parent starts to agree and, you know, we're leaving. The other thing is I like to partner up with a certain law firm and lawyer because I've had 5 abundances this year. And the craziest thing is we don't even get the abundance started. The parent and the parent's lawyer is out in the hallway. And then they walk in and the parent's just picking up their stuff and leaving. And I'm like, okay, I knew that was gonna happen again now.
So is that partnership your tab or ours?
That's on you, but it's a lot cheaper when they leave than when they
Anytime
buy.
we've gotten on Spudman, yeah, that's our hearing.
Yeah,
That's on our dime.
Now, the other thing that we have done to try to cut costs for school districts is if a parent does ask for that hearing, to make it an informal hearing first. Because what a lot of parents don't understand is they think the only thing we have is that door knock visit. When we have a pile of papers to sign that go along with that door knock visit. So when we send them the 10-day notice for the informal hearing, meaning no attorney present on either side. It's just me and administrator, and it doesn't matter what administrator, because all they're doing is presenting the attendance record. I'm having the conversation with the parent. And when I look at the parent, I say, okay, but I understand that you're trying to say that this investigator came out on this day, you were just visiting. That's a perfect example. You were just visiting, but wait a minute. Here's 300 times your car was parked at that residence between those hours. Here's 2 affidavits from your neighbors at that residence stating that you live there, you reside there, and the child lives there. Here's photos of the trampoline, the pool at the out of district residence, and the backyard at the in district residence is nothing but flowers and roses and whatever your mother wants in the backyard, not you. At that point in time, they're like, okay, what do I need to do? Because we're at the end of that conversation, I'm explaining the cost that's going to come behind it if we go to formal, which is I am going to try to recover this money for the district. And then we're talking tens of thousands of dollars that you're going to have to write a check for or will garnish wages for. I really don't want to go down that route, but you're forcing me to, and I don't want to do that. I understand where you're coming from as a parent, but the law is the law is the law, and we need to apply it equally across everybody that attends our district.
So you're telling them they're paying the legal fees, not even just the tuition of what it would have cost them. I like it.
An investigation fee, yes.
Okay, all right, that's all I have.
You're
I love your mask.
Thank you. So the autistic child that we removed from the district, that saves us $60,000. Is that because we fired the aide?
No, you really don't
60,000 come from?
even need to, and when it comes to a special education child, like the child that I have living with me, is the idea that there are so many tools that have to be applied to that child that the district has to purchase that they normally would not purchase for a regular education student. That is where the additional costs and fees
That would
are
assume
coming.
that we're buying it for the first time. So this child is a preschooler or kindergartner.
Mhm.
Obviously, if this child has been enrolled here, we're not purchasing $60,000 in new material. It's just, it's hard to mathematically conceptualize how removing one child would ever equate to a $60,000 savings without firing or laying off staff.
Okay, so let's just take it your direction and state that we do just enroll that one special education student. Okay, but if we don't remove that special education student, and because we already purchased the equipment in previous years, and it's not a cost savings at this time, then we just set a precedence for everyone around you to say, well, there's a special education student that is going to Evergreen Park. My child's special education too, and she lives right down the street with me. So I'm gonna enroll my kid over in Evergreen Park too.
Yeah,
So now you got two special education students and more new equipment having to be
I mean,
purchased.
we
and brought in.
we could go down that road, but I mean, verbatim from your mouth was if we remove this child, that would save us $60,000.
Mhm.
And then you're talking about, well, we're
That
setting the
is-
precedent. I just find it, I mean, very hard to believe that if we removed child one from our district, we would see a $60,000 savings.
That is what, from business managers to attorneys, that is the number that I have been given, that is the average cost savings of removing a special education student from a district.
I need
A
them doing my
non-resident who
taxes.
needs well, I mean, and I'm sure there are probably significant savings, obviously, because if you think about like, or if we have to do outplacement, I mean, I guess
Right.
we shouldn't focus actually, I mean, it doesn't matter if they are non-residents, whether they are a special ed student or a resident. We want to make sure that only our people are, so, I mean, like, because we're gonna lose, like now we don't need a pair, that's really, they're still gonna stay the rest of the year, we're just gonna put them somewhere else, obviously. But to me, the bigger thing is over the course of years, we will save the money because
Correct.
they will not be continuing to use our services, you know, and they're not residents.
I believe over the
Yeah.
course, but I
Yes.
don't believe 60,000
Yeah.
for the year.
I'm sure that, yeah, it doesn't matter, it still would be savings anyway, you know. But okay, that's all right. You could disagree with it, Noah. Thank you so much. Thank you for.
Any other
clarifying.
questions?
Yep,
Thanks.
I
Okay,
think we're okay. Thank you.
thank you very much.
All right, we are gonna move on to the auditor. All right.
Decided to go out for an RFP, which is basically to see what our options are for a different auditing firm or stay with the same firm. And I drew up a list of 8 auditing firms, 3 of which were referrals, be it the high school or Eric Rossi's current auditing firm that does his current location. And then I went to a lot of the local schools in the area and looked on their websites to find out what auditing firms were auditing them. So I came up with a list of 8, which I think are fairly extensive. And so far, about 3 firms have reached out to me with follow-up questions. I've answered those as they come along. It's not an overly complicated assignment. They can pull a lot of the information they need from our website. So hopefully.
One company didn't want us.
Legacy. I sent them a bunch of information.
What'd we do?
I don't know what I said.
What did you do?
It was me. But Baker Tilly has reached out to me several times, and they were fairly interesting because they They knew a lot, they obviously went through all our board minutes and lots of other things. So the guy did his homework, so I was impressed. RSM, which is our current auditor, is very, they're working very hard to retain our business.
Why would we want to?
Uh,
I'm not asking to be a smarty pants. I'm asking, give me a reason that we would want to keep them. Like what?
Well, I guess I would answer the question. A, they know the firm. They know our school and they've done our auditing for 5-6 years. And also they do all of the Worth Township, which is the treasurer's office that we work with. They do all of their schools.
Right,
So
but
they're
as of
highly-
late though,
They're pretty expensive compared to the other.
Well, that's, and quite frankly, who knows, they may, because I told them, I said, part of the reason is, A, we have to do our due diligence, B, we feel your pricing is kind of, he says, well, we'll look at that too. So maybe they're, I think it's a two-pronged problem. Number one, I think they caught our attention by being very late with the audit this year.
2 years in a row
Right,
they were,
that's-
late.
not only that, but they.
2 years. Yeah, well,
They're expensive in that,
on
so,
a few things.
I mean, let's find out what the other guy has, so that
Yep.
before we start
Competition.
throwing them under the bus.
Yep.
And then, and we'll see, everybody has to respond by May 7th. Our goal is to make an assessment and have it before the board during the May board meeting. Because we want to try to be 1 month ahead so that usually the auditors want to start coming out in July and August. We want to give them the opportunity to stay.
sure, especially if it's going to be a new company. All right.
Any other questions?
So when they reach out to you, they'll give you a cost breakdown of what they'll be charging us and how
Yes.
long with the expectation is the end
Right.
date end.
Do we get a discount if they're late?
For every month.
I'll
We
see
know
if
they're gonna be late. I just,
No, the expectation is they will never be late again.
Yeah,
so.
right. All
All
right,
right, thank you.
all right, thank you.
proving that hard.
All right, so next is extended day program.
Just to update you, we have 156 students in extended day, with 12 at Central, but not every single day. Northeast 28, not every single day. Northwest 32, but not every single day. Southeast 38, not every single day. Southwest 46, not every single day, with for a total of 156. Last year, the total enrollment was 338, but coming in now 338 kids took advantage of it at some point. Just so you have that information.
Yeah, that's about half.
Yep, yep. Sure. So, graduation planning, Ms. Prado and Ms. Daly are going to talk about some options for graduation.
So I sent this to everyone. Kim gave me a little bit of feedback or had some questions. So we decided to have two options. We still have 88 of our 8th grade students that are remote. So that means, makes me think that maybe they're still not comfortable coming out. So we would do, option A would be, we can use the football field. They're fine with that. We could set that up. They did ask for help with, we'd have to help manpower over there to do some of that. And then a rain date or rain, we wouldn't have a rain date. If it rains, if it's predicted rain that day, we would just decide to move inside and have 2 different ceremonies. So we don't have all the kids at one time and have like a half and half. We would have to make that decision by like Tuesday. So if graduation's Thursday, we would have to make a definite, like if there's even a 30% chance of rain on Thursday, we're just gonna say, let's move it
Well, yeah,
inside.
because you have to do all the setup. There's only
Yeah.
one set of chairs. There's like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
In or out.
So then we would just do, we didn't go alpha. We said, let the teams graduate or the advisory classes graduate together. They've been with these kids all day or all year. So then we would do 2 separate ceremonies for indoors. And then, so either way, on June 3rd, graduation would be done for in-person.
Excellent.
And then the other option would be that Wednesday night before, do something very similar to what we did last year, where we just had it, and we had this beautiful setup and the cars parked, came up, they came out, they took pictures. It was nice. And that would be for the families who just are still not comfortable with the idea of doing something in person. We would have them sign up, not necessarily for a time, but like we did half-hour blocks of time. So at least we have an idea of who's coming during each half hour. so that we're prepared for those
And
families.
it
and can
rained,
keep
you
it going
remember,
through.
oh.
And it rained.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it was ugly rain pouring down.
but it was
yes.
still a beautiful night. So
Yes.
if this is agreeable and we can agree on this, then we'll send this information out to families tomorrow so they can start choosing which option that they want, so that we can start the more definite planning with numbers. And then just a little bit about, well, are there any questions about those two options that we're providing?
Yes,
or we're
so
talking
if
about?
the 88 remote, are the tickets for in-person based on the 88 not coming, or is that based on them coming? So 88 remote learners were.
I
that
want to
were-
come to in-person graduation.
They'd say, well, we still want to come to in-person graduation.
Yeah.
So when we say we're, each student will receive 2 to 3 tickets, will that go down or up based on?
Yeah,
those
I mean, how
88.
many, right? I mean,
So-
if we have all 200 and some people that want to come,
Okay,
chances are everyone's getting 2 tickets.
okay,
You know, if we have a lot less, we can
Go
have
on.
more people in the stand. So it really depends on how many choose that option
gotcha.
to
That-
be
yes.
able to do that.
Is
We
that
haven't-
because of COVID? Because we've always gotten 3 in the
Yes,
past.
that's 'cause
Yeah, because
COVID,
we've
yeah.
got to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just.
And especially
yeah,
if we go
clarifying.
inside, I mean, it's really, you know,
Yeah.
maybe if we're outside on the football field, you know, maybe a few more, but also that's more that we have to manage and
Yes.
making sure, and that's the other part of it,
Yeah,
is just
no.
managing an outdoor celebration like that. We'd
Oh,
have to
yes,
watch
it's-
that, but
So my thought was that, depending on, so they're gonna obviously, it sounds like the high school may let us set up how we would like to set it up type thing.
we haven't got, we're gonna talk about
Okay.
setup. We haven't gone over there yet.
Because if we're setting, so years ago, when they graduated outside, they would set it, so like, here's the home, you know, all the home stands. So if I was sitting in the home stand, then the platform was right there. And then the kids were looking at the home stands. And my thought was, if we have the kids looking at either 99th Street or looking south and having like, not the, what do you call it? It's not, what do we call the thing that they walk on,
The
the,
dais,
yeah, the what?
the dais, like
I
when they
don't know,
walk
yeah,
across,
you know,
the stage.
the
The
stage.
stage.
I'm out of words. If we had them
It's late.
facing, I know, if they were facing either like one of the field goals, we would be able to use also the visitor side, because then the kids would be looking at the stage and the podium at either, you know, towards 99th Street or the south end of the field goal.
But you would want. it
And then you
towards
could use
99.
both sides of the stadium, kind of like we use for the gym. Do you know what
They
I'm
would
saying?
have to know what way they're walking, because
I think
like,
that
you don't want to be a parent and. your
No,
kid's
well, and I'm
walking the
saying
other
then we
way.
could also, that would also, in my own mind, give us more tickets, so to speak, because then we are using the visitor side seating too.
It's not that big.
you,
It's
well,
still there.
so I think once we go over there and kind of look at it,
Yes.
because then like I think the idea of how they do it, because my kids' high school do the same thing, is everything's closer and you can see. So now
Yes.
imagine the stage is at the south end of the football field.
Well, I'm
and
not saying it
sitting
should
way
be that
over
far
here.
down. I'm saying in the middle. I'm saying like, yeah, no, I'm
Oh.
saying still, I'm just saying facing that way, not necessarily all the way down there. I'm just saying if the kids are at the, you know, the 50-yard line still or whatever, but instead of facing the home field, I mean, the home stands are just facing either the, you know, goals, then both sides can see, because that is, if you think about it, how our gyms are set up for graduation. We have them
On a
both
smaller
seated.
Scale though.
Yeah, it's
Much, well,
The football, it's
I
I wish
a,
they had a jumbo.
It's a much
It would
farther
alleviate the
view
problem of being
from
able
those
to
top
see.
stands looking out on the 50 where.
And we
I'm
could-
not
and we could
disagreeing with
look
you.
at
I'm
that.
just
They
saying
might
if that
have
means we
some-
can have a few.
Yeah, no,
When they
but I mean, if you put it on the
Yeah.
track facing west. to
How
the
much
home
is that?
it's like-
I'm like, as far as their suggestions.
So I think if I can suggest that once we go over
Yes,
there and we kind
yes,
of look, and then we
absolutely.
can also, Claudia mentioned like a jumbo perchon or something, so that you could see a little
Oh,
bit
that's-
more,
yeah,
like
that's a
renting
great-
something like that.
I'm
But,
just trying to maximize seating capacity while we're out there so that we could get as many up to, you know, 2 to 4 parents. You know, obviously, we have a lot of families who are blended that have, you know, step parents or they have grandparents that, you know, wouldn't it be great if we could somehow maximize our seating capacity while maintaining social distancing, while maintaining a good view for their kids, like, yeah, I kind of want it all, you
Is
know.
there-
I think that one thing that a red flag that comes up is the more that we invite, the more we have to manage and keep
Yes,
them socially
absolutely.
distanced, and like, are they gonna congregate after and take all these pictures? And then I just feel like, oh, that's a lot. And we had a really nice meeting with the boosters about a lot of this, and there were some other 8th grade parents on there. And I think, for me, that's just a concern, thinking we have to manage all that.
Because you
like,
also
they
have to
can go
exit
back
them
and
all
do-
out safely, definitely,
Yeah.
yes.
So that was kind of, but we can look into some of that once we go over to the football field and see what that planning looks like. And then obviously, if we move it inside, it would be like more the traditional, how we have it set up every year.
And then my other thought was, I'm sorry, these are things like after I've been thinking about this. Option B, I love. I think that we should probably just keep in mind that if we're only giving 2 or 3 tickets at in person, some of those parents that are, is it going to be optional for them to do option B too, if they would like to do? I'm
I
just.
don't have 2 diplomas, so I don't know what they're coming
No,
for.
I
you
know
what I mean?
that.
They're
No,
gonna
I'm
get their
saying, but they
diploma at
want to
one-
come take a picture with, you know what I'm saying? I guess just
With
keep
what?
that in mind. I bet you're gonna
Well,
have
last
that
time we
asked.
had like
Mhm.
the backdrop.
Well, you get one or the other. You get to walk across the stage or you get the
Yeah,
backdrop.
No,
right.
I'm not, I don't disagree. I don't totally
But there were
disagree.
like 10 people
all
that
I'm
would get out
saying
of
is
the car.
Everybody was participating too.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just saying,
Correct.
I guess it
Yeah,
should be
no,
very
one or
worded
the
very
other.
specifically that
That's
this
what I-
is either or. You
and I have an
cannot
eighth
give,
grader,
you know what I'm
so-
saying?
Yeah.
One or the other.
Is
I
it-
mean, their
Yeah.
diploma's only gonna be at
Well,
one
one
place,
spot.
so they only have one diploma, they're gonna pick it up at the drive-through or at the other. But we do have some other options, and I'll share that, but Mr. Muller, did you have a
Is
question?
this gonna be, is this like a either or based on a vote? Like when you
No,
put,
they'll get to choose.
that's what, that's what I'm saying, like, say, option B is, it's voted more by the students and their families.
No,
He's
we'll do
saying if
both.
He's providing both options. So let's say you have a grandparent in the house that is medically fragile and you'd love to be in person, but you really think you should do the drive-through. She's gonna offer that too. She's offering.
We get both. They
They
can
just
choose
get
A
to,
or
they get
B.
to choose what they want to do.
We're
So-
doing, we're
so we're
doing.
doing
both
both no
We're
matter
doing
what.
both of them, no
Yes.
matter
So we
what.
have
We're
plans
doing
on the
both, but
second
they
and
can't
third.
participate.
They can only do
Yeah.
one.
So, yes, and the survey that we'll send out tomorrow, we'll ask them which of them which they choose, and then we can start the planning of all of those details. There's still, Boosters is doing the lawn signs, if the kids choose to buy that. Last year, we ended up, because of the situation we were in, we bought them for all of the kids. We're back to, the kids will buy them if they want them for their lawn. They're all getting a graduation t-shirt. The Boosters always buy that with all the kids' names on the back, so they'll get that. We are planning, we're calling it kind of a parking lot party. So just, we're not going to do big dance that we would normally do, but we're gonna do some kind of party, like one day, let's say like 4 o'clock, just for the 8th grade students, again, that want to participate. We're gonna give a little bit of time prior to the kids coming, that maybe the remote kids. And we were gonna have, I don't want to give away all the details, but like kind of photo stations set up with like different backdrops, so it can be more of
that would
like
be
a,
cute.
then they can be posting it all over.
That's very.
So a
sweet.
photo booth, but it's really big.
But it's really spread out.
For
photo
social
booths.
That's brilliant.
And social
I love it.
distance
Good
photo booths.
idea.
And then we had a parent that wanted to donate one of the balloon
Oh,
banners
Blue
for the
Arch
photo
thing.
booth, so we're gonna have to solicit a lot of parent help. The Boosters don't run this. This would be the school doing this part. And then we have some other things, just little things we know that we can do to celebrate with them, just within the building. But those would kind of be the plans for celebrating the 8th graders.
Appreciate the creativity.
Yes, I love that they have an option for either A or B. I think that will be great for the families who will not come in person, but they can stop and.
Now, is it gonna be like e-learning once you choose to
Oh, yeah.
do one that you can't change your
No,
mind?
We can't be
flip-flop
changing
it.
back, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've already drafted the letter, and it says,
Yeah.
like, once you
That
choose,
would just be
that's, yeah,
throwing all the numbers off. and
yeah, because it's gonna be a lot of planning
Right.
for both of the events, so we'll have to know that. Mhm. They've already done graduation pictures, they picked up their caps and gowns. What else have we, we've started doing the diploma stuff, and
That's great.
You have a
Well,
lot of
yes.
great ideas.
Chorus was practicing. I heard one singing.
They're gonna do
I
the,
think it was called singing today.
they'll do the flip grid thing that they did with the singing. So they won't be singing
Oh,
live,
yeah.
but we'll be able to,
Yeah.
we'll be able to play
Yeah, I
that.
liked that last year too.
Yes, that's great.
Very
And then we'll do it Facebook Live for
Yeah.
the ceremonies.
Alex is one ready.
I was just thinking, I don't know if we're gonna get Wi-Fi at the football field. Right,
I'll check
maybe
with them. I'm
booster.
sure they have something because they broadcast the games out there. So I'm sure there'll be a way that we can do it.
Yeah, they live broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go over to the high school and talk more. They're planning the same thing,
Oh,
but they're
of
doing it on the
course.
football field. But if the football field doesn't work, then they're just going straight to the drive-through option. I don't think they're doing a different in person. It's either at the football field. That was the last I talked to Bill, but
Okay. Well, this sounds great. Thank you so much.
Before you go, I just want to say I've heard from several students that came back, including my own, that you and the staff.
she got really tall.
got-
What happened
Oh
to
my God.
her?
Well,
What'd
they
you feed
just,
her?
her and several of the other students who chose to go back, they were like, Ms. Prado and the staff made us feel so warm and so welcome, and we felt like they feel like school is so much fun. And so I really appreciate all of the effort that you've taken and the staff at Central to make those e-learners feel welcome and comfortable coming back to school. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. It was really nice to go around and see. Jenny and Daniel and I went to all the classrooms and, rah, rah, you're back, and we were really happy. So it's nice to see more kids coming down to the office and more kids seeing the nurse and all those things and,
A little more normal.
it's been nice. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're going to move on before we go to recess to close session, a staff appreciation event. Dr. Longo?
Yeah, so Sonia talked to me about staff appreciation, and it usually was done at the beginning of May, but last year was done closer to the end of the school year, right, Sonia?
No, last year it was done.
About what?
It
Okay.
wasn't
Still
May,
maybe it was
but we
via
were
Zoom.
thinking about this year doing it.
Right, and she said that there was better participation when it was done via Zoom. They had 300 staff members on it.
Oh, it was fun last year.
Yeah, and Sonia and I were talking today about possibly like if you could have a celebration of each building. So maybe it was a breakfast for staff, and then that would be on Zoom, right? So that you're not getting 300 people together. So Sonia talked about celebration of each building, and then we'd go on Zoom so that everyone participated and everyone would see everybody getting their 10-year awards and 15-year awards and that kind of thing. So that is in process, and
It was like a hybrid.
yes.
We could
So
go
that-
for the breakfast.
So that, yeah, so the buildings would have, breakfast or lunch, something, right, that the district would sponsor so that they could celebrate as a building, they could celebrate and be on Zoom and maybe put it on a screen or whatever. So that's in the process, so we will let you know.
Yeah, it was really nice. I think most of us logged on
We
last
did.
year at some point. Yeah, it was. There was, because in the middle, he had to upgrade our Zoom. He was like, we're on a Zoom, people.
We're out of space.
It was cool. in person.
It was, yes, it is. Oh, of course, of course.
Yeah, there was a spin the wheel. We did like a spin the wheel and they won.
I forgot about that. Yes, we did. That was very fun.
Prizes, that's right.
I forgot about that, Sonia. I didn't win. That's probably why I forgot.
Okay,
That's
okay,
all.
that's it, thank you.
All right, so at this time, if there's no other questions about any of the things that we've discussed, I'd like to make a recess to close session to oh, I'm sorry. Kevin, do you have any questions? I know you're there. Nothing? All right, I think you said no. So would somebody please make a motion to recess to close session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, for dismissal of a specific employee of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. Do I have somebody to make the first motion
I'll make that
I'll
motion.
second.
and a roll call?
Gina Cannon, yes. Dan Malloy,
Yes.
Kevin O'Connor. Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Catherine Fontaine absent, Colleen Clemzak,
Yes.
and Kim Leonard.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Okay, so we will be taking no further action, so at this time, have a great night and we will see you again. Kevin, I'll call you when we get to closed session.